So a couple of weeks ago, I came across a tool which was actually in the Microsoft Store, and it is free to download for all users, and I just found it extremely helpful. And the fact that you can do so many things within this one tool rather than having to jump around your PC to make various tweaks and changes to your operating system, I just found extremely convenient. Now the tool that I'm talking about is something called WinToys. It is free to download from the Microsoft Store. I'm not being paid or affiliated with this video or this software. I'm just doing this purely from my own general experience. So without further ado guys, let's roll the intro and jump straight into the video. Okay, so as you can see, we're now back on our Windows 11 desktop. So the way to get this is you'll need to just go down to your search box, or if you've got it as a pin, you can obviously go straight to it, but you need to go into the Microsoft Store. So I have checked online. I don't think there is a way to get this, unfortunately, outside of the Microsoft Store at the moment. But what you'll do in the Microsoft Store is just go down to Search Games and Apps, and it's going to search for WinToys like this, and then press Enter. And it will then show you a couple of other options here as well. But the first one is going to be this one here, which is WinToys. Click on this, and you can then just click on the Get button, give that a second to download, and it will then change to open. Now, again, this is a free application. It's made by this kind person here called Bogdan, and I don't know how you say his second name, Petrukian. I don't know how you say it, but it's made kindly by him, and it is all free. So we just jump straight into the application by clicking Open, and then selecting Yes to the user account control. You'll then be brought to this screen here. Now, it's quite nice how they've made this. So this is, as I said, it kind of bundles quite a few things into one application, so you don't have to keep jumping around your operating system trying to find various system settings to tweak various things. So the first thing you're going to be brought to is the home page. Now, this will show you the spec of your PC, the hardware that you're running. Obviously, as you can see, I am running this in a virtual machine, but it does show my processor. But it will also show you the apps that you've got installed, the processors that you're currently running, the services you're also running, any space if you've cleaned it, processor, video card, how much it's being used, on all in percentages, which are quite handy to know if you do need to know that information. So if we now jump onto the left-hand side of the menu, you've then got apps, services, performance, health, tweaks, and obviously you've got some feedback and settings as well. It is asking me to reboot there. That's just because I've made a tweak before I started recording, but obviously I'll jump into that in just a second why it does that. So if we jump into the apps on the left-hand side, now this section will actually show you all of the applications that you've got installed on your Windows 11 PC. So by default, if you didn't have this application, you could uninstall all the apps or see all of them by going into the Start menu, going into Settings and into Apps, and then Installed Apps right here. And this will obviously show you all of the applications that you've got in quite a nice list on Windows 11. Obviously, in Windows 11, you can just go by click on the dots here and go into uninstall. But obviously you have to wait a bit of time because you can only do I think it's one at a time. You have to wait until it's uninstalled. Whereas if we come out of here, this is the WinToys version. So again, you can click on the dots on the right hand side, and it gives you a few options. So you can open it, close it if it's running. You can browse to see where the files are. You can do a quick web search about it. You can reset it. So maybe it's just crashed, you want to reboot it. And you can also do an uninstall as well. So obviously uninstall is quite most important if you're looking to get rid of some junk or maybe some pre-installed bloatware that's come on your device. Now, you can also search for the application. So if you're unsure, if you've got quite a large list of apps, you can just search by the name. You can also filter it by clicking this option here, and it will then filter it by Win32 or Store. But you can also go into Store as well, and then obviously that will show you ones that have either come installed with Windows or that have been installed or modified or even published through the Microsoft Store, which, as you can see, is quite a large list, which is all the pre-installed Windows 11 crap that comes with Windows. You can also filter it by name, by going to A to Z, from top to bottom or bottom to top, newest, oldest, smallest, and biggest. So again, that's all just by file size and how much storage it is using on your device. So again, maybe you want to go down list and uninstall stuff that you're just not going to use. For example, I've got this help application, which I'm just never going to use. And as you can see, it is using about 200 or nearly 250 megabytes of storage, which is quite a bit. So if I just click on the dots, go down to uninstall, give that a second, and like that, it's all gone. So we now jump into the Services tab on the left. Now, this is where things start getting a bit more advanced. So services obviously are things that are running in the background of your PC on Windows to keep it running as it should be. Now, there will be some services that you won't be able to disable because it will simply just need to use those services. But if you scroll down on the, if you go down, if you want to find a service that you want to get rid of. So say, for example, I want to get rid of this connected user experience and telemetry, which is actually a Windows tracking service. I can just click on the dots on the right-hand side, and then just go down to stop. And as you can see, that is now stopped. But if I now go to the filter tab at the top and jump into the section that is for stopped, And if I then just go and find that service, which is right here, you can see it is actually set to automatic, but it is stopped. So what that means is that next time my PC reboots, it will actually start that service again on startup. But maybe I don't want that to happen. So you can actually click on the dots, go down to mode, and you can set to manual, which means you have to go into services yourself and physically start that service when the PC boots up. Or you can just set it disabled, which means that will not boot up now next time I turn my PC on. So again, just be very careful that of some services that you do disable. As I said, some of them are required. It can break the system or cause system instability if you do disable the wrong service. But again, you can just go and have a look at some services and again, just disable ones that you don't maybe want to be running, or maybe even enable ones that you do want to be running. And again, like before, you can also search for the services name in the top left-hand corner if you know it, and you can also filter it by useless, Microsoft, third-party, running, stopped, automatic, manual, and disabled. Obviously, useless are ones that the creator of this application has thought is just not needed, which I think is quite a nice section actually. And you've also, again, you can also filter it by the status, mode, and obviously by top to bottom or bottom to top on alphabetical order. So if we now jump into the performance tab on the left-hand side, this is now where things get a little bit more advanced. So you've got an option here which is called Ultimate Performance Power Plan. So if we actually click on these options right here, this will then take us into the power options in Windows. So the most famously Windows 7 or Windows Vista, if you've been using Windows that long, you know all the power options that you get. So this is actually called Ultimate Performance. So again, these are actually things that are built into Windows which have just not been enabled, but thanks to this tool, it allows you to tweak them and also enable features that, again, are just not shown to you by default. So if we come out of here, so as you can see, that is now set to Ultimate Performance because I've got that switched on. So that will now give me try and give me all the most power out of my system and its hardware. And you've also got HAGS, which is Hardware Accelerated GPU Scheduling. And you've got VBS, you've got startup apps. So if we maybe want to disable some of the applications that have come up on startups, try and improve that speed of your PC that it takes to boot up. So if you've got OneDrive right here, you can either delete it or you can even just toggle that and just disable it like that. So that means then when I turn my PC on, it will not boot up OneDrive when we do first log in. And again, you can go through all these, just make sure that obviously you disable ones that you don't want to start up. It will actually affect your performance. So again, you may want to just disable those if you're not using them. You've also got relaunch apps, you've got background apps, activity history. Like I said, there's loads of different options. Background apps, obviously, if you don't want applications to be running in the background, we can just go and disable those there. But again, I don't mind applications running in the background because I've got the hardware for it. You've also got activity history. So, maybe you don't want Windows to keep a log of what you're doing on the system. So, keeping track of apps and services that you use, the files that you open. When you go to for example, File Explorer and it shows you recently showed apps or recently opened applications or documents. Again, you can disable those right there because you might not want that on your system. There's also visual settings, so you can make some visual tweaks. So you can adjust visual effects for best performance. Maybe you've got a low spec PC. Then obviously this will be quite ideal for you. But if you are unsure on any of the options as well, you can also just hover over the toggle and it'll give you a little tooltip on what the button will actually do, or what this option that you are choosing will actually do to your system. And again, if we just scroll down, so you've also got gaming settings right here. So we've got game mode, and we've got Windows mode optimizations, background recording, and super fetch. So again, maybe you want, if you're using your PC for gaming, you might want to enable some of these tweaks here to give a bit more of an FPS increase. You've also got search indexing, which again, if you've got a hard drive that's running quite slow, this might be quite good to switch off. So we can actually just go and switch that off there. But obviously, unfortunately, it will mean that your searches may take a bit longer if you are trying to do a search in Windows. But you can also, again, click on that, and it'll then take you into the original Windows search settings. And you can also obviously customize your settings within Windows based on that search feature as well. There's also delivery optimization. So there's an option here where it says shares downloaded Windows updates with other devices from your local network or internet. So again, Windows 10 or Windows 11, I'll put on screen which version of Windows brought that in, but that will then actually allow your system to send files to another PC on your network. So rather than obviously that PC having to download all the files from Microsoft's update servers, instead it will just get it from your local network, which obviously will save you bandwidth. But again, maybe you don't want that on, which I don't, so I can just click on that toggle button, and there we go, and that's now all disabled. So we're now just jump into the health section of the app. So this is now going to give you a few more options in here based on the health of your PC, and also that will also affect the health of your PC. So the first one is actually called Fast Startup. So again, this is if you want your PC to boot up really quickly. I don't really have this enabled. Again, all the pieces that I do generally set up for my clients, I do disable this just because it can cause issues, especially with software. I've had cases where laptops or PCs just don't fully shut down properly, and it just causes some issues for my clients. So I just tend to just disable it because just for the sake of 50% supposed boot time, I just don't think it's very needed. You've also got hibernation, and we've also got drive optimization as well. But again, there's a lot of settings in here that you can just go through. I mean, things that you might just find, even, things that you just want to toggle and tweak yourself. Like I say, you've got drive optimizations. This is actually to do with like fragmenting your drive. Again, if you don't want that to happen on your drives or your SSD, you can just go and toggle that off right there. And we've also got a nice section here, which is for repair. So again, it says recommended for crashes, freezes, blue screens, failed updates, etc. So again, you can also use the DISM or DISM, which is Deployment Image Servicing Management Tool. You've got SFC, which checks all your files on your PC. And you've also got check disk, which lets you check your hard drive, for various corrupted partitions. So for example, if you want to run an SFC scan, we would just click on that, and you can also do a scan and then the repair. And again, that will just start running that tool, which I think is quite handy, especially if you're doing some repairs on your device. There's also memory diagnostic. So this is obviously going to check your RAM, but again, I probably wouldn't recommend using this to check RAM. I would probably use a tool such as MemTest. Again, that's a free tool that you can download online, which I've used quite a lot in the past, and it works quite well. So again, but you've also got this nice option here if you want to do it as well. We also have things like cleanup. So again, if you wanted to clean up your system, so you could clean up your taskbar so you have no pinned icons on there. You've also got Junk, File Explorer, Microsoft Store, and DNS. The DNS might come quite handy because you can actually flush your DNS, or it basically just runs the ipconfig/flush DNS command. But again, if you just click on this flush button right here and click flush, and that's it. The DNS cache is obviously being flushed just like that. And you can also clear all of your system restore points as well. Now, if you are actually going to clean these, just make sure that you do this and then maybe create a restore point. But I probably wouldn't suggest running that one just because obviously if something does go wrong since you've used this tool, you could obviously break a bit of a backup to go back to from there. You've also got system updates. So if we go into here, we can choose default, which is where Windows will just go and check and download all updates. You've got security, which means Windows will check and download only security updates, which again might be quite critical. It might be quite better to use that option if you are don't want to be testing new features that Microsoft are just pushing out. You've got manual, so again, it will just check for updates, but it will not install them. And you can also disable them as well, but obviously I probably wouldn't recommend doing that. And if we scroll down a bit more again, you've got app updates right here. So Windows will automatically download and install application updates. That's quite handy if you want to keep apps up to date, but maybe you don't want that feature. So again, you can just go and toggle it right here. There's sleeping pill, you've got graphics drivers, so again, restart the driver if your display has weird issues like freezing or flickering. That might be quite handy for you, so you can just go and click on restart there and it'll restart your graphics driver. And you've also got icons cache as well, and it asks you if you want to rebuild the cache of your icons and if your thumbnails are blank, blurry or corrupted. So when you get like an icon that looks like a little white page, but it's not showing the actual image, then again, that means it might just be corrupted, so you can just rebuild that right there. So lastly, we're now into the tweak section. So this is something which I find quite useful. So it's all nicely categorized into different sections. So you've got desktop, start menu, file explorer, privacy, ads, system, and spotlight images. So we jump into the desktop section. Now this is actually where you can customize what icons show on your desktop by default. So let's say you want this PC to show up. So if we just toggle that on, and obviously if we then just refresh our desktop here like this by right clicking, as you can see, it now shows this PC, which, back in the Windows XP 7 and Vista days, it used to have My Computer, which was quite handy, which I did quite like to have. You've also got recycle bin, so you can get rid of that if you don't want to have that in the, like I said, I've got it in this top corner here. We've got widgets, we've also got shortcut arrows, we've also got drop shadows, show desktop, and if we scroll down again, you can also even change the wallpaper quality if you really want to by just increasing it and then decreasing it, just like so. We've also got a start menu, just like right here. So again, you can include Bing search results, which really do bug me. I hate that feature, so I'm going to disable that because I always just want to, have files or things that show up in my start menu just only on my PC. You've also got auto install suggestions. That's going to be applications that Windows recommends that you install. I'm just going to disable that because why would anyone want that? And if we just jump into the File Explorer as well, but another option which I did miss, you've also got Show Hibernate in Power Menu, which is quite handy if you do want that enabled. But again, depending on because I've got a group policy running on this PC, that is just why it just shows as grayed out and disabled there. So if we scroll down a little bit more again, so into File Explorer, there's Show File Extension, you've got Show Hidden and System Items. So again, this is things that you can customize in Windows already, but maybe you don't want to go search for those options. You can just do it all in this one place, which makes it quite nice. You know, things like show recycle bin and navigation pane. You've also got sync provider notifications, and you can also have it where it opens, you know, so when you go to File Explorer, where do you want it to open to first? It will either go to this PC, to your home, or even into your downloads. The next section we've got is privacy. So we should jump into here. So this is actually quite handy. So, you know, when you go through Windows in the privacy options, so if I just show you here by just jumping into the settings and then just going into the privacy and security, you know, if you wanted to customize all of these, you have to jump into it, toggle them all off, come out of it, jump into it. You know, it's just such a long-winded process. Well, this application makes it much more easier for you. So again, you can just go and toggle all these one off. You know, so maybe you don't want app launches tracking, let's turn that off. You don't want to submit error reports. You know, you don't want the camera on the lock screen to work. You can disable that. Again, you can just run through all of these, disable that, and it'll also customize all the options for you via that long-winded privacy menu. So again, we also got one for ads. So again, this is all advertising in Windows. So, you know, you can disable things like suggested content and settings. Just disable all these. Suggested notifications, I don't need that. Lock screen fun tips and tricks, I don't want that either. Tips, you know, tips and suggestions, Windows welcome experiences. So finish setting up your device. This is something that Microsoft are starting to push a little bit more now. So, you know, when it pops up like on full screen, ask you to sign into a Microsoft account. Again, I probably recommend saving that because why would anyone want that? And you've also got system right here. So again, you can also got clock with settings, clipboard history, snipping with the print screen key, mouse acceleration. You know, you've also got something called God mode, which is like a folder that gives you access and shows you all of the tweaks and tools that you can do in Windows. You've also got user account control as well. But like I said, it's just very nice. It's just nice to have all these in a single application. It just makes it so much easier, especially if you're trying to customize your Windows experience maybe quite quickly for yourself or maybe for someone that you're setting up the device for. And again, the better thing is, it's also all free. Now, if we do just jump down into the settings, which is down in the bottom left-hand corner, it will then give you a few more options in here as well. So as you can see, we can change the theme. So maybe you want to be in light mode in Windows, maybe you want to go in dark mode. You've also got backdrop. And you've also got landing page, so it allows you to choose the page you prefer as a default when you open the app. You've got persistent sorting and filtering, shortcuts, error reporting, and obviously the information about the application as well. And you can also give the application a rate as well, which again, I probably suggest you do just because it is a really good application made by this Bogdan. So again, thank you Bogdan for making this application. And if you do jump back into the Microsoft Store as well, you can see that it has got 4.7 stars, or 119 people have rated the tool as really good. So, you know, it's got really good feedback. I do think it is an excellent tool overall. I hope that's helped you guys out there. If it has, please smash that like button to get this video into the YouTube algorithm. Please also hit that subscribe button as well to help me try and grow this channel. And also, if you guys do have any feedback or comments, or maybe you found this tool quite helpful, let me know your comments down in the comment section down below. You can also check me out on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. And again, I'll leave the links down for those all in the description box down below. And I also do have a Discord server if you guys want to come over and talk to me on there. And I've also launched a website, which will also be having some built-in forums on there as well. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you then. Bye for now.